Hello everybody, this is Shaili from Business Excellence Strategy Department. In episode number 7, I talked about leadership. Today, it is the time to get familiar with PDCA. What is PDCA? The PDCA cycle provides a simple and effective approach for solving problems and managing change. It enables businesses to develop hypotheses about what needs to change, test these hypotheses in a continuous feedback loop, and gain valuable learning and knowledge. It promotes testing improvements on a small scale before updating company-wide procedures and work methods. The goal is to improve on each improvement in an ongoing process of learning and growth. The PDCA cycle consists of 4 components: plan, do, check, and act. Let's see what plan is. In plan component, we identify the problem and collect relevant data, and then understand the problem's root cause. After that, we try to develop hypotheses about what the issues may be and decide which one to test. Regarding the problem identification, we should consider the following questions. Is this the right problem to work on? Is this problem important for the organization? And who does the problem affect, and what is the potential impact of solving it? Considering problem analysis, there are some questions to be answered. What is the requisite information needed to fully understand the problem and its root cause? What data do we already have related to the problem, and what data do we need to collect? To develop an experiment, following questions should be answered. What are some viable solutions? Who will be involved in the process and who will be responsible for it? What is the expected outcome of the experiment and how can we measure performance? What are the resources necessary to run a small-scale experiment? How will the results from the small-scale experiment translate to a fully fledged implementation? The next stage is do. The do stage is what we test the proposed solutions or changes. Ideally, this should be carried out on a small-scale studies. These experiments allow us to learn quickly, adjust if needed, and typically less expensive to undertake. Make sure that you measure the performance and collect the data necessary to make an evaluation later on. Be aware that unpredicted problems may occur at this phase. This is why, in a perfect situation, you may first try to incorporate your plan on a small scale and in a controlled environment. The next stage is check. In this stage, review the experiment, analyze the results, and identify what you've learned. Consider the following questions. Did the implementation of the change achieve the desired results? What did not work? What was learned from the implementation? Is there enough data to show that the change was effective? Do you need to run another experiment? How does the small-scale experiment measure up to the larger picture? Is the proposed solution still viable and practical? The next one is act. In this stage, take action based on what you learned in this study. If your plan worked, you will need to standardize the process and implement it across the business. During this phase of the PDCA cycle, you should ask the following questions. What resources are needed to implement the solution company-wide? What kind of training is needed for full implementation of the improvement? How can the change be maintained and sustained? How can we measure and monitor the impact of the solution? What are some other areas of improvement? How can we use what we've learned in this experiment to devise other experiments? After completing all 4 phases, we need to check what you've achieved and compare it to what you've expected. Gather as much data as possible and consider what can you improve in your process so that you can achieve greater results next time. This is continuous improvement. If the analysis shows that you've improved compared to your previous project, this standard is updated, and you need to aim for an even better performance next time. In case you fail to improve or have even achieved worse results compared to the past, this standard stays as it was before you started your last project. And don't forget that we're gonna have an excellent journey together. Stay with us.